Yeah, so that was one of the ones the Orange Pod helped out with. Cool. Robbie, do you want to chat about the illustrations and the Green Pod?
Yeah, that's hectic. So yeah, we initially were going to just have freeze frame on the live action shot with some OST coming up, and I thought if we're going to do freeze frames, we should do them well. And I thought about Into the Spider-Verse, which is like one of my favorite movies, and they've got like this really cool animation, but they do these freeze frames that only last for a frame. But that was the inspiration. So. And I also thought about kids, and like if this is going to be played for kids, it should be engaging, should be exciting and fun. And so comic books are epic, and so yeah, that was kind of the style, going for like a comic book illustration style. And I just asked Nick like, hey, can I have a swing at the illustrations? He said, go for it. And just did a lot of like looking at references, looking at Into the Spider-Verse and other comics, and just kind of figuring it out. And it took a couple attempts, and then yeah, like stoked with how. Not only how the illustrations look, but kind of how the transitions work. I was thinking about like in a video game, when you introduce the characters in it like a squad or something, and it like freezes and has like the titles coming up. So yeah, really stoked with how that all panned out. So we can watch the other one. This one's the soccer game. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so that's what we worked on, and obviously you could see it was like a conversation starter. So they'll go onto this tool, group of teenagers, they'll watch those videos and then answer a bunch of questions. So they are really conversation starters. Cool. Who would like to go next?
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Fez.
Cool. Our pod was asked to help UNESCO activate a conference of theirs. It was a pretty interesting conference. It had to do with internet and trust. So they're saying increasingly the internet's becoming a spot that you can't really trust. You don't know what's out there and what's believable or not. And therefore, a lot of regulation is needed. So it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but that's what the conference was about. Very, very big conference held in Paris. Some big wigs flew over to go and join the chat over there, and by all accounts, it went quite well. They asked us to come up with sort of an activation idea, digital activation idea on social media. And we decided to just post a blank slate for the first day. So across all of UNESCO's channels, they posted a pure blank slate with a little hashtag at the bottom, reboot the net. And obviously that got tongues wagging on social media. People were sort of a little bit freaked out. What's going on? Why are you posting blank slates? UNESCO's lost their minds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that sort of got the conversation started. And the very next day, we posted sort of a bit of an explainer post for those who can't see at the back. Yesterday we posted only blank posts, so did our partners. It wasn't a mistake, it was an act of protest. We need to reboot the net. So that was sort of the premise of the whole thing, and then obviously we went on to explain what the conference is all about. We also briefed Kim to come up with the rest of the campaign's social media collateral. She ignored about 95% of what we asked her to do and came up with something much, much better. So I think the approach that she took is a really, really novel way of showing things on social media. I've not seen anything like that done before, so it really stood out and cut through. She did a really, really great job. So she sort of made use of typical internet visual language, incorporated that into the social media. It looked super swish. Also had to dig and troll through a whole bunch of online abuse that people spew at each other to find sort of social media posts that we can screenshot and then put up there. Not necessarily the funnest job out there. Also, very, very cool post talking about algorithms. Obviously, you know, stealing from that sort of visual language when she came up with this post. Oh, that's me. Cool. I think I can't quite remember what the stats were, but I know especially the sort of upfront activation stuff, the blank slates and the subsequent explainer post did extremely well. A couple of million views or engagements on that. Some really, really nice questions being posed. So it did the job for them. That's me.
Nice. Shot. Cool. Any volunteers to go next? Cool. Thanks, John.
Cool. So I'm going to be representing the Blue Pod this morning. We recently got a really cool opportunity to do a trip to Kenya for the World Health Organization. Fox, I think you can just start on that first photo, and then you can just scroll through as you go. I'm just going to give a quick overview of the project, and then I'll just chat through the photos, I guess, a little bit. But we actually had a really cool chance to go in and experience some work that the WHO is doing in one specific area in Kenya. Okay, cool. They're not really in order, so then I'll just explain. So so myself and Fanyan went up and we met one of the clients of WHO. Her name is Kristen. Up there, and basically we were checking out this enrollment of a malaria vaccination that they have been doing, which is incredibly cool. to hear about, to see that there's something out there that is actually making a difference around malaria, which is such a huge life-threatening disease, especially in Kenya and certain parts of Kenya. So basically, kind of the point of us going was a little bit interesting. Normally we would kind of go in and and we have a story, we have a plan, but this time we were kind of in this group of WHO people and local health people that we're trying to find out how is this vaccine making a difference. So yeah, kind of interesting to be traveling in a big group and kind of literally going in and trying to see what we can find. So it often meant we were in health facilities, literally coming up to people, families like this, just some there's the team. But just some so that's kind of who we were moving around with the whole time, so we weren't very subtle. It was like made it a little bit interesting for filming. There's Fanyan. What was interesting about it was that we basically were moving in this group, so we kind of would get there. It was like people would kind of fill the space and we'd have to kind of film in these small spaces, but really amazing to actually be on the ground chatting to mothers who are literally walking into the clinic for with their babies and being like, hey, can we chat to you quickly? Have you received this vaccination and how is it affecting you? That is some of the food that you're eating. That's tilapia. So Kisumu, the area we were in, was right on Lake Victoria, which is unreal. It's the biggest lake in Africa. It's massive. You stand on the side and you look out to the horizon and it looks just like you're standing on the beach here. And basically what you're seeing is 1% of the lake. It's that big. It's crazy. So it's huge. Fanyan loves roasted corn, if you ever want to get him something. We literally, he stopped the car to get out to get some corn. Okay, so if you stop there, thanks quickly. So Nairobi is where we flew into, that little dot in the middle there, and then up towards the left, a little bit is Kisumu. That's the area we're in, which is, actually hit really hard by malaria. So just with regards to the vaccination, it's a 2-year rollout for kids from 6 months to 2 years. They have to get 4 doses, like kind of what we would do or kind of how they've done with the COVID vaccination. So this program has now been running for 2 years. So us going back was super crucial because we were for the first time actually getting to see kids receiving their doses on that 2-year point. And to hear how is this actually making a difference. So yeah, we're speaking to a lot of moms, speaking to a lot of the healthcare people in the local clinics, local volunteers, people going out into the clinics. And just actually getting like an on the ground ear on what's going on, which is super cool. It's a little bit scary because you could rock up and you could get a negative response, but what was so amazing is that we were hearing amazing things from the mothers, and then hearing amazing things from the healthcare workers as well. There was one actually. So then on our last day, we actually had a lady fly out from Geneva. Her name was Katie O'Brien, and she was actually the scientist who pretty much spearheaded the malaria vaccination, which was wild. And it was the first time she was actually getting to see it being implemented in the field. So if you might see her in some of these photos, but that was also a huge deal. So it wasn't part of the story that we were trying to capture, but it was really cool on one of the days to be able to spend some time with her and and just be there with her to experience that. Shame. I closed my eyes often when we were filming the vaccines. I was just like, I can't look at this. This is so sad. But I know it's for the good. yeah, don't fly Kenya Airways. Both of our flights there and back got cancelled while we were on our way. So we spent a lot of time lying in the airport like that. That's what that photo of Fanyan was. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know why some of them aren't coming through, but yeah, hope you get gives you a bit of a summary. Yeah, it went really well.
Thanks, John. Cool. Tom and James, did you want to share? Awesome. Thanks, James.
Hello. Oh no. This is a bit of a rainbow pod / yellow, orange, and the no color concept team pod. Sorry, give me one. Translucent, I like that. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is a project that came through last year sometime, and it actually originally came to the Orange Pod, and UNICEF wanted to make a animation about a 3D animation that brings their famous blue backpack to life. So we were like, no, we should send that to the animation team. So it is now a Yellow Pod project where they are tasked with making a 3D render of the UNICEF backpack. You'll see like they've done a really great job in like kind of bringing it to life, like because UNICEF has a very creepy mascot of the UNICEF backpack that it looks pretty terrifying. So what's happened now is UNICEF wants 4 15-second short animations that really bring Uni's the name of the backpack, bring Uni to life. And we've been working with the animation pod trying to come up with like little stories, but telling a story in 15 seconds is, as you all know, really hard. So we were really like hitting a wall constantly, like, how do we do this? This seems so random. Like, does Uni just dance or does he do a backflip? But then it's like, why am I watching this? What's the point? So very early this year, with Talia and Joff and me and Tom, we kind of came up with this idea for Uni Academy, because we thought, let's have some kind of backstory for this character that can string through their entire like storyline. So if he starts in Uni Academy, eventually gets given to a girl, helps them finish school and then achieve their dreams. But we can essentially take any 15-second moment out of that that's quite light and whimsical, but we needed some kind of strong structure for any kind of 15-second story in the overall story to make sense. So we landed on this, which is something we pitched to the client about 2 weeks ago, and they seem super duper excited. So that's when Orange Pod came back in, and Angel did some really cool kind of designs. These are very much like concept designs, because it is going to be done in 3D by the animation team. But this was really like, we wanted to get the buy-in, because this was really coming like left field, being like, we're giving Uni a backstory. We're not just making them dance. So I'll hand over to Angel. You will see a close shot here. There's Uni. So our big like tagline is, at Uni Academy, this is where the story begins, but it's far from the end. And you'll see like we try to build this little world inside this academy where we can get all of this kind of exposition through without actually telling the audience like all of these things. So if you're in a school, you automatically know that Uni is there for a reason. So each episode is going to explore what those reasons could be. What does Uni need to learn in order to graduate the school before he gets given to a child?
So we sat this morning and we were like, who's going to say what? And James pretty much said everything there is to say. So I feel a little silly standing up here now. I guess I'll just ask James to go through the slides slowly. So, like James said, these aren't what the animation is going to look like. The actual backpack is a little 3D animation. This was just sort of to help the client visualize what was being written when we were telling them the idea. Okay, well, that last one was sort of like a Hall of Fame. It would allow, I guess, for you to see like all the backpacks that came before and how excited he is to graduate and be one of the people on the wall, I guess. I don't know if you guys have seen Mulan, but there's a little scene where I think the song's called Make a Man Out of You, and they're all trying to get ready for war, and they're all failing pretty terribly at it because they're all just boys. So this was sort of taken from there, like if he needs to learn to be durable, he's got to go through all of these challenges, I guess. This is a library. We all know how important education is to UNICEF. And that's him graduating. I think that's it. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about the story.
I think it was already touched on, but basically now all those slides that could be an example of a 15-second animation, and then we wanted to just put it inside a much bigger story. So it's about we really wanted the client to get like super excited and then say, go make a Pixar feature film about uni. They didn't, so we won't yet. But if they want to one day, we can. So it really is it's such a simple story, but everything was kind of just clicking for us when we took it back to this uni academy. And basically the story, I think I touched on it, but it's he will eventually graduate, and with all the lessons that he's learned at this academy, he will help one girl be safe, finish school, and achieve their dreams. And then in a real tear-jerking ending where they have to say goodbye because uni's not needed anymore, he will be given to another child, and he will change their life. That is uni's story. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. For the yellow pod, did you guys want to share? Did you have something else to share, or was that it? Ah, cool, Jeff. Who here supports Manchester United? Who here supports Liverpool? Anyway.
Yeah, so Jeff's gonna start and say some stuff, and then I'll say some stuff, and Kim's hand is up, so she can go first. Okay. So yeah, Jeff, if you're still there, go for it.
Good morning. Yeah, I've lost the image of you guys for some reason. So I'm just talking to a giant icon. But so we ended up doing a job for GSMA as part of their main keynote speech at the MWC Barcelona. And I just wanted to give a kind of listing of the people involved, because everyone did a really cool job on the actual project in terms of just the effort and level they managed to output on the project. So it all started in London, where we filmed Matt on a green screen. The whole concept for the project was he spoke a lot around how digital is going to be more and more reality. So the kind of mixture between, or drawing that fine line between digital and reality. So we had this concept where Matt will be delivering his speech, and at certain moments in the speech, he leaves stage, but then he comes onto the big screen behind him. They had a 25-meter long screen and 5 meters high, so we had a lot of real estate to play with. So we ended up filming him in London with John and Rob on sound, and then the animation team took over, which was Ed, Ash, Gideon, and Jeff, and Anita as well. And yeah, then Jeff can show some of the visuals. But then pretty much went into compositing, and then on the main day, we went up for rehearsals, which lasted 3-4 days. And then on the main day, it's such a huge conference. It blew my mind how many people actually attend. I think over the few days, about 150,000 people attend. And at the main keynote as well, it was really impressive to see the teams involved behind the scenes. There were about a crew of 30 backstage, and in the audience, all kind of the top level people from around the world in tech. So it was a great kind of platform for us to have our animation viewed. Yeah, Jeff, you can take it away.
Okay. So yeah, this was a very strange project because we couldn't really test out what we were working on. I don't think any of us had worked on like a screen that size before. So it was quite an interesting one. One thing that I learned from this is backing up is very important because Ashley's hard drive kind of collapsed halfway through the project because of all the renders. And yeah, I think we had one video file that was something like 86 gigs. But that was just because of obviously the resolution and how it's like 50 frames a second, and it was like an MOV, and it was just the codec that they were using was like quite intense. So yeah, backing up is very important. So it was an interesting project. I guess it's like there was a whole speech that was recorded, and the whole idea was to kind of mix the live recording with the visuals that we were doing, like Geoff mentioned, and just have some interesting backgrounds that kind of loosely related to what was being said, but not like 100% spoon-feeding ideas. Foxy, you can play the digitization one. Sorry? Okay, cool. Okay, so basically when the keynote plays, Matt kind of starts up on stage and he's speaking, and he does a quick little dip around the back of the screen, and then that was kind of the first time that they would see him digitizing on screen. So this is essentially like when he comes on and he does like a whole talk, and then he disappears for a bit, and then like that comes on. So it was like quite a big moment because no one really knew what was going on. Like the whole room kind of just went black, and then it was just this massive light coming across, like swirling across, and it was actually really cool to see. So just gonna keep quiet for a while, and then you can just play it with sound so people can watch it properly. But yeah, this was pretty much it. There are a whole bunch of other backgrounds because there's no sound. It would be kind of boring to just let you watch all of that kind of stuff. But if you didn't get a chance to watch the keynote, it is still live on their website that you can still kind of go through and watch it. And I just want to say that our sections were the best. So go Rooftop. But yeah, thank you guys.
Shot, very cool. Awesome. Any questions?
So that was so when the world globe thing moved next to his face, there was a blue light on his face, but it looked like it emerged. Am I right, or am I imagining it? John says I'm right. It was done practically, not in post.
Yeah, that was done practically. It was interesting because it was just me basically as the crew. So I would like hit record, start the teleprompter, then run to the other side of the room, and then we had this light that I would like pan on, and then there was another light that we would like slowly fade on. So it's a lot of the background stuff. But yeah, it was practical.
Nice, well done, guys. Very cool. Cool. Last thing I wanted to just mention was a reminder about culture. And cultures, like especially rooftop culture, is something that's spoken about by our clients, other people who interact with culture. And just a very short reminder that we create that culture. And that whenever there's a touch point between you and someone else, they get to sense and feel and see what that culture is. Just a reminder that Rooftop's culture is made by us. And so make that culture what you want it to be and what we are as Rooftop. Cool. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks.